Hello, I am back to talk about anime. This is the second take because I was a dumbass and forgot to check and see if my mic was actually working. We are slightly scuffed here. It's fine. Don't worry. That's my brand, scuffed. Just kidding. Although sometimes it does feel that way. I have a beer, so I'm slightly inebriated. This is my second one. If anyone knows me, I have zero alcohol tolerance, so I am tipsy. But, I mean, it should make for an interesting video. Anyways, today I'm going to be talking about Tiger and Bunny, the Netflix original series. I have notes today, which I'm very excited about because last time when I was doing the Kakaguri video, I was rambling the whole last time. So I have pointers for myself. I'm probably still gonna ramble because that's who I am as a person. But just a couple disclaimers. First things first, all my opinion, okay? You don't have to agree with me. In fact, if you don't agree with me, I would love to hear your opinion on the show, some of the points I made. Just kind of give me a counter argument. I would love to have a discussion about it. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. The other thing is that if you don't want to know anything about Tiger and Bunny whatsoever, so you don't want to hear about any of the scenes, because I am going to be talking about maybe a few specific things, some spoiler-y-ish things. I'm not going to go super into depth. I'm going to try to avoid spoilers, because personally I hate them. That being said, I recommend going and watching the show before coming and watching my video, just so you know. You can see where I'm coming from, and you can avoid any sort of spoiler. Unless, you don't care, which I don't get personally, but you do you. Sorry if that sounded mean, but serious spoilers are one of my least favorite things. So that's why I'm giving this disclaimer, just so people can, be warned, Anyways, talking about Tiger and Bunny. Okay, I have character names off to the side. Probably gonna still. Oh, my cat's coming to visit. Probably still going to mess up names here and there. I already did in my first recording, because some of the names can be relatively similar, specifically hero names. So it's fine. Anyways, to start, I actually really liked this show. I thought it was really interesting, kind of a really unique take on superheroes. I don't know. I haven't really watched, I guess I have seen quite a few superhero-y animes, but this was a very unique take. It kind of felt like it meshed genres in some ways. So if you've ever watched the classic Gundam kind of vibes, so you have these mech suits, power suits, whatever you want to call them. So you have them, and then you also have the superhero, super powered kind of stuff. It's really interesting. It added a lot. Yeah, so I thought it was really good. I thought the story was really interesting. It held my interest. I really I'll go more into depth. I'll go more into depth about it. Misty really wants to say hi, apparently. She's rubbing up on my mic too. Hopefully that didn't pick up. She's like, I want to talk about Tiger and Bunny. I'm a little tiger myself. So let's start off with some of the basics, bare bone basics, whatever. Okay, so I don't think I brought it up particularly when I was talking about Kakaguri, but I do find animation to be very important to me. There's some styles I don't like. For example, I can't watch the 3D modeling unless it's really minimal. So for example, in that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Some of the big armies and stuff, they have a little bit of CGI, which is fine, and 3D modeling. But like a whole anime where like even like the main character is 3D modeled, I can't do that. Um, it's just my preference. So, but Tiger and Bunny had a really good animation style. It was 2D, because I don't like 3D. So it was 2D. It was really pretty, really colorful. The fight scenes were really good. Um, there was some like cheesy bits I found. So like I've never been a huge fan of like the transformation, magical girl, Gundam like stuff kind of thing, you know. Like never been a huge fan of it. Anyways, I've never been a massive fan of it. I find it a little bit cheesy. I know some people live for it. Just it's not my cup of tea. But it was on the relatively small side. I didn't think it really affected the story that much. It didn't take me out of the moment. I thought it was really okay. Like it was fine. It was cheesy. Like they had some like special like powers and stuff. I think it was like good luck mode, I think is what it was called, and it was cheesy. Um but besides that, it was like fine. It was great. Like I enjoyed like the animation style, and like I could just block out those moments and pretend they weren't happening. Um the other thing I want to add is that the show had great voice acting. So, for example, I watch One Piece. I am like one of those people, okay? So Sanji, the voice actor for Sanji, voices Wild Tiger or Kotet Kotetsu? Kotetsu, I think is his name. It doesn't it just has the hero names on the side, but I'm pretty sure it's Kotetsu. Um so he voices Kotetsu. That was something I immediately noticed. I can pick out like voice actors sometimes. I'm not very good. So when it comes to voice actors' names, I don't know them. But I can tell like, oh, that voice is familiar. So he voiced the person who voices Wild Tiger, who's one of the main characters. He's Tiger and Bunny. Is voiced by Sanji, and it's like actually like really well voiced, really well done. I find voice acting to be very important to an anime because otherwise it can kind of take you out of the moment. Like, for example, Black Clover wasn't one I could watch because the main character's voice got on my nerves. Dragon Ball Z I had to watch dubbed. Like, it's just like little things. Like, if I can't stand a voice, I have to, like, I don't know. But they voiced it really well. Everything was pretty convincing and stuff, so I thought they did a fantastic job with that. um I also want to praise the characters in general, and I really want to bring up the fact that they're fantastic at developing characters in this show. I thought they did a great job with it. I think it was pretty much the main focus for most of the show. Um, just like developing characters, developing relationships. Like, for example, Tiger and Bunny, or Kotetsu and Barnaby, they did not get along at first, like at all. They were kind of just thrown together. Kotetsu was like this kind of old news sort of hero, and Barnaby was this up and coming, kind of arrogant um hero. And so it was like, I don't know, they did a really good job developing their relationship, and they do a really good job developing relationships with all the characters. So a little bit of a spoiler-ish thing. In the second season, they have all these heroes pair off with each other, and they do a really good job of showing the difficulties each pair has with each other, like their insecurities and stuff, and how they get over it, quote unquote. Mr. Black and he is Thomas. What a name. Anyways, they still are kind of like not really like, they're getting there kind of with their like partnership or whatever. Um, but like everyone else, like they resolve their issues sort of, like, and like you can see like they're slowly developing, and then like the whole team, I think it's 12 heroes in total. Let me see. Yes, it's 12 heroes in total. They all kind of like, it shows them all coming together and like working together as a whole unit as well, which is really like nice. It's really cool to see just that development across all the characters. And then um like I don't know, like just characters in general are really interesting. I know I said compelling a lot in the my first video, but it's whatever. Anyways, they're really compelling. Like they're really interesting to me. Barnaby, a little bit stuck up, a little bit of a dick, but he comes around as the show progresses, and I kind of like grew more interested in him and his story and everything, and he became more of a like character I liked, which I thought was good because they start him off as like kind of a dick, and then as he progresses, it's like, okay, you know what? I can live with this man. And like you also get to see the development of Tiger and Bunny's relationship, which obviously should be a focal point because that's the name of the show. Um, and it's really interesting seeing like their influences on each other and how that plays out, and it's really cool. Like I think they do a really good job with the characters. There are some relationships that I'll get into later that I'm like, I don't really like. But like for the most part, I think the heroes they do a really good job with. Like their dynamic as a team and everything. Kind of the dynamic between corporations and the heroes and stuff, and like figuring everything out as like, I don't know. It's really well done in my opinion. And like it's a big focus in the story, as I think it should be. Which kind of brings me to the fact that I really liked how unique their take on superheroes is. So there are these Next, Next, that's what they're called. And like they're these people, they don't really go into depth about like how they were created or whatever, but they're these people that have these powers and they're kind of shunned by society. So a big part of why they have the dynamic they do in this world is to bolster their reputation and kind of get people on their side and like develop this like, you know, like kind of integrate them more into society, which is really cool, really interesting, and it becomes a huge point in the story. I don't want to go too into depth with that, but I think they do a really good job with it, and I don't know, it's just really cool, and I really like that it's like this television show, reality TV show, whatever you want to call it, with these heroes literally doing their jobs on TV, and like having the heroes like kind of they clash with the corporation every now and then, like their stance on a matter, for example. So like when they go to save someone, so they're like, we need to do everything we can. And then Agnes, who is like in control of the segments, the news, the cameras, she's the director of everything. So I love that Agnes is like, she'll have some points where she's like, but wait, the ratings. And you're like, but that doesn't matter. And like even the heroes will call her out on it. And it's like she's a really interesting character. I actually really like her. And she adds like this tension between the corporation and the heroes. Like the heroes are trying to do their job, but they need the backing of Hero TV. Otherwise, they won't really be able to do it as well kind of thing. I don't know, it's just like a really unique take on superheroes. I've never seen a show where um the heroes are actually like filmed live and they're doing it, some of them are doing it for popularity rather than like out of the goodness of their hearts, which adds to some of the problems Barnaby and Kotetsu have, which is, it's really good. It's really interesting. And I don't think I've brought it up. I don't have it in my notes either, but I also think the setting, which kind of takes like, I think kind of adds to the take on heroes. The setting is really interesting. It's a modern 70s slash 80s. It's really cool. Like, I've never seen that like kind of setting. I'm sure there's other shows out there that like have somewhat of a similar thing, but like you have the really like unique outfits. Like the Barnaby wears a red leather jacket, and it's very like 80s. And then you also have Kotetsu with his like suit and like little hat and everything, and I don't know, it just, the style is really cool, and I guess that kind of ties in with animation. So going back to the unique like take on heroes, um they also kind of hint at corruption with the companies, which is really like, it adds to the story. Not gonna go into it, but like it's really cool. And you have all these interesting takes on what justice is. So you have the Hero TV's take, you have the Hero's take, and then a character I haven't gotten into, who I think is probably one of my favorites in the whole series. Which, I mean, it says a lot about me. I mean, I love this kind of character, but Lunatic, who is this vigilante kind of character who actually like kills supervillains. Really interesting, unique character with an insanely good background. Really love this character. I hate his costume design, but that's a personal preference, and he's supposed to be like hateable, I guess. But I don't know, I just love that they have these like, they explore what justice means to people in the show, and it's just, it's really well done. Let me circle back to corruption. So Lunatic is tied into the corruption. Um Not gonna say how, but he's one of the characters tied into it. And then you also get this kind of exploration of an older hero who's, yeah, he's dead in this series. He's like old. He's literally called Legend, or the Legend. And you kind of learn his story more as it goes. And some heroes, so like Kotetsu really looked up to him and stuff. They find out some things about like the corruption that he went through, and like it's really interesting, and they kind of tie it to Kotetsu or Wild Tiger. I'm just gonna start calling him Wild Tiger. They tie it into Wild Tiger, and so I don't know. They do a really good job of developing these characters and having them like interact with the main characters as well, or like the main crew, the main 12. And so Legend has like this corruption, and like it ties into the corporation because the corporation wants views, and you start thinking, well, the corporation wants views, right? And then there's this evil organization, and it seems like they're working together to have the corporation make more money, by having these like villains and stuff like show up and do things. And like, I don't know, it's just a really, it's just interesting. It's really good. I wholly enjoy like that universe they've built, and this like contrast between a corporation that's making money off of people who are doing good and the actual people who are doing good kind of thing, you know? Like it's really unique, really interesting, and something I haven't seen in an anime before. I don't know if there's any other animes out there like it. This is a genre I don't normally like watch religiously, but I don't know, it's been really good. Now let's go into the things that bother me. There's not really a lot. I'm just gonna say this here, it's rather nitpicky. Um, but there's some things that do bother me about the show. Um, but I don't think overall it takes away from everything. To start, Agnes, who is the director of Heroes TV, like takes point on everything, like all of that. For some reason, they have her like gain a lot of weight in the second season. Like it's just jarring. It's like all of a sudden she's like overweight. It's like I think like a year later or something. I don't know. And to me, I have to be careful, so I'm gonna like refer to my notes here. Um, it kind of felt like it was on the verge of being like a joke in this show that she was fat all of a sudden. Um, but like at the same time, it didn't. Like, it's just something that bothers me. So it's nothing like I'm personally offended by or anything like that. It's just something that was like, okay, but why? You know what I mean? So, like, all of a sudden she's like overweight, and you're like, okay. And I think they mention it like once, and it was like kind of a jokey thing. But then, like, never really again. I think they might have alluded to it a couple more times. But, like, I don't know. It was just something that was like, okay, but why? Like, did she have to? But I mean, at the same time, it kind of makes the character more real. Like she was stressing about the show or whatever. Maybe she was like struggling with something on the side. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so that was something that kind of like bothered me about the show. Like made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but nothing too crazy. Then you have Barnaby Bunny, like his whole revenge story, like the whole reason why he became a hero kind of thing and why he uses his own name, like that kind of thing. I felt it did feel fall flat at some points. I'm not gonna go into super depth about it. I don't want to spoil anything, but there were some points where I felt he could have expressed more emotion. I felt he should have expressed more emotion. Like, um, I don't know. It felt like it would have been better if he had, and then Tiger was there for him, you know? But I don't know. It just kind of fell flat, and then when he eventually did get his revenge, like, he was suddenly happy go lucky. And I don't know. It felt kind of weird to me because normally when I expect. Maybe like this is the point, but like normally when I expect a revenge story, when someone actually gets their revenge, they have to refine their purpose, which I feel like maybe they do a little of, but not as much as I would have liked to see. Um, maybe to like just develop the character a little more than they already have, kind of thing. Just a nitpicky thing, nothing serious. But like, yeah, I would have liked to see a little more there. Finally, okay, so I mentioned earlier that there were a few, maybe not a few, but there's some character relationships that I don't like. And specifically, I want to talk about Tiger and his daughter's relationship. So, Tiger is literally an absentee father. Like, he left his daughter at his mother's house because I think they were married. His wife, like, passed away. Not a spoiler, you find that out pretty early on. Um, and so you're like, okay, cool. Like, you're not there for her. He literally, it shows him missing, like, a figure skating recital and things like that. And you're just like, okay, fine. Like, being a hero for him takes precedent over his daughter, which kind of a feels bad moment. And if you kind of like make the comparison between him and Mr. Legend, not a good thing. Anyway, so then his daughter finds out that he is Wild Tiger, he's a hero. And all of a sudden, she's kind of okay with the fact that he's absent. Like, beforehand, it was like, oh, whatever. Like, I know you're an absentee father. I hate you. Leave me alone, kind of thing. And then, when she finds out he's Wild Tiger, she kind of just accepts it and, like, I don't know, kind of moves on with it in a way. And you're just like, you should still be kind of mad at him, I think, personally. I don't know, it felt like she stopped caring about the fact that he left her alone for so long, and like she kind of accepted the fact that she should be lonely. But you don't really get to see that development at all. It just kind of happens, which I think it would be really interesting to see that. And I mean, they kind of hint like at some things, and like she wants to like follow in her father's footsteps kind of thing, like that whole vibe. But like, I don't know, it just felt unnatural in a sense, the fact that she just kind of accepted it. But that's just my opinion. Anyways, I feel like I've rambled on long enough. If you're thinking of watching it and you're still here, I highly recommend this show. I think it's really well done besides those points I just like listed. Minor nitpicky things, honestly. Minor nitpicky things. Yeah, I think it's really well done, really interesting, very unique. Overall, a good job, Netflix. Anyways, I stream mostly Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes different days of the week. Come follow me on Twitch and go to the Discord link, because Discord will update you when I'm actually streaming. Because sometimes I do surprise streams, sometimes I do them later. It's wild, okay? I have a wild streaming schedule. But yeah, come hang out with me, it'll be fun. Like, subscribe, comment below if you've seen the show, you're thinking about seeing this show. I would love to hear from you guys. I think it would be fun to have that conversation. Yeah. Anyways, I hope everybody has a good rest of their day and everything. Blah, blah, blah. Bye.